For me, exclusives are the lifeblood of the industry. They really drive everything going with video games. They drive everything, really, if you think about it. Think about the streaming services and how these companies are a lot like that. Yes, they're not exactly oranges to oranges or apples to apples, but they are a very good indication, right? Like, if I could watch Stranger Things through Disney Plus, I wouldn't need Netflix. Right, same thing with a lot of Xbox games or PlayStation games. If I could play my Xbox games on a PlayStation or my PlayStation games on an Xbox, I wouldn't need it. PC is a different thing. Like, we could get into that. It's not really worth it to me. I think a lot of console gamers choose to be console gamers for a lot of different reasons. I don't want to mess with the PC for one thing. But for me, overall, it's just the ease of use. My friends are all there, and that's how I prefer to experience it. So no matter what they bring to PC, I'm never going to be a PC gamer. Now, when it comes to the exclusive department, yeah, I think people want more and more content that's exclusive to that sort of, particular box. And to see that, I think, happen through Game Pass, I think, has been a really wonderful thing. Now, the problem that I have is it seems like they're losing games before they even get them, and this is a little bit of a problem. And I feel like this is something that Microsoft maybe should fix, or at least maybe they could be a little bit more transparent about it, because if this ends up being true, it really takes away one of the big pieces of the puzzle that a lot of people were looking forward to. And I'm not going to lie, I'd be disappointed if this does indeed end up being the case. But let's get into it, because no further waiting is needed. Now, we know Microsoft has a bunch of games announced. They've got 14 games currently announced, and there's a lot more rumored to be announced, or that will be announced probably at their showcase in, 12 days from now. But I still think that we have to kind of look at what's already been announced and say, well, I expect to see something from this. I expect to see something come from the fruits of this labor. What exactly is going to happen? Now, according to this, Bethesda's Indiana Jones game may not be an Xbox exclusive after all, which, again, did anybody think it was? Like, I started to come around to think it was. It was announced before the deal went through, but I still think that one of the reasons that a lot of people kind of figured that it would was because a lot of the other games were like that as well. Starfield, for instance. You also had, even the Elder Scrolls, the next one, was kind of announced informally with a little CGI thing for next-gen consoles. So I think when it comes to Indiana Jones, a lot of us kind of just assumed maybe that it was going to, come out and be an Xbox exclusive. Speaking on a recent podcast, Windows Central Jez Gordon says that he'd heard around a year ago that the game would not be exclusive to Xbox despite being developed by the now Xbox-owned Machine Games. While discussing the game, Gordon's co-host said, "We don't know if it's exclusive," to which Gordon replied, "It isn't," which is very damning if it is indeed true. I think Indiana Jones is due to see a resurgence due to a new movie coming out next year, and so this could actually help drive people to Xbox, which I think would be a very good thing. He goes on to say, "The only information I've had on Indiana Jones is that it wasn't exclusive, but that was over a year ago. Maybe something has changed." Now, Machine Games' Indiana Jones, which was only announced early last year, is being worked on in collaboration with the newly reformed Lucas Games. Executive produced by Elder Scrolls and Fallout director Todd Howard. The Indiana Jones games will be a wholly original, standalone tale set at the height of the career of the famed adventurer, according to Bethesda. It'll be sometime before we have more to reveal, but we're very excited to share today's news, the company said. In a separate post, Lucasfilm said that some clues to the game's setup could be found in the teaser trailer that was revealed during the announcement. Now, Machine Games said in a statement, "As huge fans of the franchise, it's a tremendous honor for us to create a brand new Indiana Jones game with a completely original story. We're very excited and we can't wait to share more in the future." So Indiana Jones is seeing kind of a resurgence, and I think that that's a really good thing. And I also think that, it's something that is going to be looked at by a lot of different people. Now, the good thing about this is, even if the game isn't exclusive to Xbox, it's still going to go into Xbox Game Pass, which is a big bonus. This is something that we're going to have to live with certain games. I think, like, as far as the Activision games that we're going to see as well, like Call of Duty and, Overwatch 2, Diablo, these are the type of games that are going to end up in Game Pass and are still going to end up on PlayStation. That's part of the deal that they're going to have to do to even get this to go through where they can buy Activision. So everybody has to kind of keep that in mind as we go forward. It's just the life of how things are going to go for Microsoft. Now, like I said, it would be disappointed if Indiana Jones isn't exclusive, but again, there are worse things that could happen, and I still think that there's a chance that it could be. We never know. Like, Microsoft knows how much they need exclusives. They know so much that, I mean, they went ahead and made Starfield exclusive, and that was originally going to be on PlayStation in addition to Xbox. So yeah, I think that it's very interesting when we see these things kind of come about, but I also think that, you know, Microsoft is very smart with the way that they handle things, and I think that, you know, Indiana Jones could be in a state where it is exclusive. And, you know, I don't know, it's hard to really comment. A lot of people these days make a lot of broad statements. I saw some statements earlier about the Fable game, right? And to me, it's so funny because, like, back in the day, I used to do a prediction video on Microsoft's E3, and I would get like 90% of it right just by using my head and by using, you know, kind of putting two and two together about what's like most likely going to be there. Even this year, right? You know that they're going to show Forza Motorsport. You know that Starfield and Redfall are going to get shown in some capacity. You know that some stuff that was announced prior and has had plenty of time will probably get some kind of showcase. So it makes it really easy to predict. Also, people like to make broad, overreaching statements, like with this Fable stuff, right? By saying, well, they had to scale back the gameplay because the world is too big, and they had to scale back this because of that, right? This was some of the things that were said recently, right? And it was very interesting because I thought it was kind of funny that, you know, this is exactly kind of what was said real quick. They had to scale down Fable because the team had trouble building the game on Forza Tech, likely still using Forza Tech, and the gameplay mechanics they designed could not be retrofitted into the engine. These are broad statements, folks, because, like, we knew that the game was probably a year or two still out from release, and how do you prove these statements one way or the other, right? Like, when it releases, are people going to go, oh, well, this game really would have been much bigger, or, you know what I'm saying? What if it releases and it's a 90 rated game, right? I mean, I think it's really kind of hard to prove these things exactly one way or the other, but I also love the fact that, you know, so many people try to look at this as a negative and always look for the negative in everything Xbox. Well, it could be true, some of this could be true, but also a lot of it could be fake and could just be people guessing, trying to get a rise out of people or trying to sound credible when it comes to these things. Listen, newsflash, people, game development is hard. It's a difficult thing and it takes time. When games were just about to get started and we go into a worldwide pandemic, it didn't make anything easier. And even though it's easy to kind of look at Microsoft and go, well, they're the only ones having problems, you can look around and see that it really affected everybody, and a lot of the affected games, depending on how far along they were in development. So a game that maybe started in 2017 or 2018 in development wouldn't have had as much of an issue as a game that was trying to get started in 2020 or 2019. So hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. A lot of people are going to consider that to be damage control, but it's just facts. And when you look at everything that Sony has released recently, most of it has been delayed at some point or another. Even on the Nintendo side, they've had massive delays. From Breath of the Wild 2 to Metroid Prime 4, there's a lot of things that are getting delayed, and a lot of it has to do with the pandemic. People want to look at Microsoft and say, same old Microsoft, without giving them the benefit of the doubt, and that's unfortunate. With that being said, what do you guys think? Do you want the game to be exclusive, or do you want it to just be out and be in Game Pass? Is that going to be enough for you? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. If you do enjoy the video, please leave a like on the video. It helps it to be seen and it helps the channel to grow. Crap Gamer, out.